Commander Jake Morrison walked through the long metal hallways of the council station. His boots made soft sounds on the floor as he moved toward the big meeting room. He had been doing this walk for 3 years now, and it never got easier. The council station was huge. It floated in space between 5 different star systems. Aliens from dozens of worlds came here to make decisions about the galaxy. But Jake knew the truth. Most of these decisions meant humans would fight and die for problems they did not create. Jake stopped outside the meeting room doors. Through the glass, he could see the alien council members arguing. Their voices were loud even through the thick walls. The Zephyrians were waving their forearms around. The Centaurians were making clicking sounds with their beaks. The Valorians sat very still, but their eye stalks moved back and forth quickly. They were fighting about the same thing they always fought about. Who would fix their latest problem? Jake already knew the answer. It would be humans. It was always humans. Jake touched the communication device on his wrist. A small screen appeared in the air in front of him. Admiral Gary Collins looked tired. He had been Earth's main representative to the Council for 15 years. In all that time, he had asked for the same thing over and over. He wanted humans to have full membership in the Council. He wanted humans to have a voice in the decisions that sent human soldiers to die. The answer was always the same. Not yet. Maybe next year. We need to study this more. The aliens had 100 different ways to say no without actually saying it. Jake pressed a button and walked into the meeting room. The arguing stopped for a moment as the aliens looked at him. Then they went back to their loud discussion. To them, Jake was just another human soldier. Someone who followed orders and asked no questions. Counselor Veltar of the Aquilian Federation was speaking. Her blue skin was darker than usual, which meant she was angry. She was talking about the Krell Dominion. They were a group of worlds that wanted to take over other planets. Human soldiers had been fighting them for 20 years. The Krell have attacked 3 more systems, she said. Her voice sounded like water running over rocks. We need immediate military response. My trade routes are being threatened, said Counselor Zarthok of the Centaurians. His beak clicked with each word. The humans must protect my shipping lanes. First, Jake had heard this before. Each alien race wanted human soldiers to protect their own interests first. They never thought about what humans wanted or needed. They never asked if humans agreed with their decisions. Senior Counselor Zethron of the Valorians finally spoke. His voice was very deep and slow. The human forces will be divided. Half will engage the Krell. Half will protect the trade routes. This is decided. Jake watched as they planned out human lives like they were moving pieces in a game. No one asked him what he thought. No one asked if Earth agreed with this plan. They just expected humans to do as they were told. The door behind Jake opened. Captain Lisa Brooks walked in. She looked upset. Jake knew why she was here. Her colony ships were supposed to leave for a new world next week, but Jake had a feeling that was about to change. Captain Brooks, said Counselor Veltar, your colony mission is postponed. We need your ships for the military operation. Lisa's face went red. Counselor, my people have been waiting 2 years for this mission. We have 50,000 colonists ready to start new lives. Their families are counting on this. The needs of the council come first, said Zarthok. Your ships have weapons. The colony can wait. For how long? Lisa asked. The aliens looked at each other. No one answered her question. Jake felt something buzz on his wrist. A priority message was coming in. He looked down at the small screen. The message was from Earth Command. It was marked as urgent and private. Jake stepped back toward the wall and read the message. His face did not change, but inside he felt something shift. The message was short, but clear. Operation Homecoming is approved. Bring our people back. All of them. President Carter. Jake looked up at the arguing aliens. They were still planning how to use human soldiers and ships. They had no idea what was about to happen. For 30 years, humans had served the Council. They had fought wars on distant planets. They had died protecting alien trade routes. They had built space stations and research labs. They had shared their technology and knowledge. In return, They got promises that never came true. Earth had been patient. Earth had been loyal. Earth had believed that eventually the aliens would see humans as equals. But Jake knew better now. The aliens would never see humans as anything more than useful tools. Jake pressed a button on his wrist device. The message went out to every human commander in Council space. It was a simple code that every human officer knew. Pack up. We're going home. The aliens were still arguing when Jake walked out of the room. They did not notice him leave. They were too busy planning their next war to see that their greatest weapon was about to disappear. Jake walked back through the metal hallways, but this time his steps felt different. This time, he was walking toward freedom. Humanity had served the Council long enough. Now it was time to serve themselves. The age of human service to the Galactic Council was about to end. And the aliens had no idea what was coming. General Chris Parker stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty. Through the large windows he could see 200 human ships moving in perfect formation. It was the biggest withdrawal in human history. Ships that had protected alien worlds for decades were now heading home. Chris had been planning this moment for 6 months. Every human base, every research station, every military outpost had to be emptied. It was like moving an entire civilization across the galaxy. But humans were good at big projects. They had built this military network in the first place. "General, the Titan base reports they are ready to leave," said Lieutenant Colonel Jenny Walsh. She was Chris's second in command. Her voice was calm, but Chris could hear the excitement underneath. Everyone was excited to go home. Chris nodded. "Tell them to proceed. Stay with the main fleet." Titan Base had been humanity's largest military station outside Earth space. It protected 4 different alien worlds and had 50,000 human soldiers. The aliens had never said thank you for the protection. They just expected it to always be there. On the other side of the bridge, Dr. Amy Foster was talking to her team. She was in charge of getting all the human scientists home. The aliens had become very dependent on human research. Humans were better at solving problems quickly. They could think of new ideas when old ones did not work. "The medical research on Centauri Prime is complete," Amy said to her assistant, Dr. Karen Bell. "We have downloaded all our data. The aliens will have to finish their own projects now." Karen looked worried. "But Dr. Foster, the Centaurians still don't understand how the new medicine works. Without us, they might not be able to make it." Amy shrugged. "They should have thought about that before they treated us like servants instead of partners. For 25 years, human doctors had worked on Centauri Prime. They had created new medicines that helped the bird-like aliens live longer. The Centaurians had never shared the credit for these discoveries. In all the medical papers, human names appeared last if they appeared at all. Captain Steve Rogers was commanding the evacuation of Forward Base Alpha. This base had been humanity's first outpost in Council space. It was built to show that humans wanted to be part of the galactic community. Now it was being shut down because that community had never accepted them. "All personnel are aboard, Captain," reported his communications officer, Lieutenant Nancy Price. "The base is empty." Steve looked at the space station one last time. His father had helped build this place 30 years ago. Steve had grown up, believing that humans and aliens could work together as equals. Now he knew better. "Set charges and destroy it," Steve ordered. "Don't leave anything useful behind." The explosion lit up space for a few seconds. Forward Base Alpha became a cloud of metal and memories. The aliens would not be able to use anything humans had built. Back on the Liberty, Chris received reports from across the galaxy. Human forces were pulling back from 17 different star systems. Trade agreements were being canceled. Construction projects were stopped half-finished. Educational programs were ended. The human teachers who had been working on alien worlds were packing their belongings. Many of these teachers had spent years learning alien languages and customs. They had tried to build bridges between species. But the aliens had only wanted human knowledge, not human friendship. Ambassador Kate Sullivan was at the human embassy on the Council station. She was handling the political side of the withdrawal. Alien representatives kept coming to her office, demanding explanations. Counselor Zarthok arrived first. His feathers were ruffled, which meant he was very angry. "Ambassador Sullivan, this withdrawal is unacceptable. We have contracts." Kate looked at the papers on her desk. "Actually, Counselor, we don't. Humans were never given full membership in the Council. This means all our agreements were voluntary. We can end them anytime we want. You cannot abandon your duties." Sarthok's beak clicked rapidly. "We're not abandoning duties," Kate said calmly. "We're ending a business relationship that wasn't working for us." More alien representatives arrived throughout the day. They all said the same things. Humans had obligations. Humans couldn't just leave. Humans were needed to maintain order in the galaxy. Kate gave them all the same answer. Humans had asked for equal treatment for decades. They had been refused. Now humans were choosing to work alone. The first signs of trouble appeared within hours of the human withdrawal. Pirates attacked a Valorian trading post that human patrols had been protecting. Without human ships in the area, the pirates easily destroyed the alien defenses. Similar attacks happened across Council space. The Krell Dominion launched raids on 3 border worlds. Smugglers began moving through space routes that human forces had been guarding. Criminal organizations that humans had been fighting started operating openly again. News of these attacks reached the Liberty quickly. Chris read the reports with no emotion. The aliens were discovering what it was like to live without human protection. "Should we respond to any of these distress calls?" asked Colonel Walsh. "No," Chris said firmly. "We're observers now, not protectors. Let the Council handle their own problems." The communications officer, Lieutenant Sam Turner, looked up from his station. "General, we're receiving a priority message from Counselor Veltar. She wants to speak with you directly." Chris considered this for a moment. "Tell her I'm busy. If the Council wants to talk, they can contact Earth through proper diplomatic channels." The message came back quickly. Veltar was offering humans junior membership in the Council in exchange for stopping the withdrawal. Chris almost laughed. Junior membership meant humans would still have no voting rights. They would still be servants, just with a slightly better title. "Send a response," Chris told Lieutenant Turner. "Tell her that humans are no longer interested in serving the Council in any capacity." As the Liberty led the Great Fleet toward Earth, Chris thought about what they were leaving behind. Humans had built research stations that advanced science for all species. They had created trade routes that brought prosperity to dozens of worlds. They had maintained peace in regions that had known only war for centuries. All of that was ending now. The aliens would have to learn to do these things themselves, or they would have to live without them. Chris looked at the stars ahead. Earth was still far away, but they were going home. For the first time in 30 years, humans would work only for themselves. They would explore only for their own benefit. They would fight only for their own protection. The age of human service was over. The age of human independence was about to begin. 3 months had passed since the humans left Council space. Senior Counselor Veltar looked at the reports on her desk and felt sick. Everything was falling apart without human help. The Krell Dominion had attacked 7 Council worlds at the same time. Without human forces to stop them, the Krell ships had destroyed 3 major cities and captured 2 entire planets. Council forces had tried to fight back, but they were not used to fighting without humans leading the way. Veltar remembered how it used to work. Human commanders would make the battle plans. Human soldiers would do the most dangerous fighting. Human ships would take the heaviest damage. Council forces would support them and claim victory when the fighting was over. Now Council forces had to fight alone. They were losing badly. "The 4th Fleet is gone," reported her aide, a young Aquilian named Mortek. His blue skin was pale with fear. "The Krell destroyed all 30 ships. No survivors." Veltar closed her eyes. The 4th Fleet had been one of their strongest groups. If the Krell could destroy it so easily, what hope did the rest of the Council have? "What about the defense systems at Rigel Colony?" she asked. "Failing," Mortek said quietly. "The humans built those systems. Without human engineers to maintain them, they stopped working last week. Rigel Colony has no protection now." This was happening everywhere. For decades, humans had built, maintained, and improved the technology that kept Council worlds safe. The aliens had never learned how to do these things themselves. They had always just told humans what they wanted and expected it to appear. On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Steve Rogers sat in his observation post at the edge of Council space. Earth Command had ordered him to watch what happened after the withdrawal. They wanted to know how badly the Council was doing without human help. The answer was very badly. "Captain, I'm picking up another distress signal," said Lieutenant Nancy Price. She was monitoring all communications from Council space. "It's from a Valorian transport ship. They're under attack by pirates." Steve looked at the signal on his screen. 6 months ago, his ship would have rushed to help. Human patrol ships had kept the shipping lanes safe for 20 years. Pirates had been afraid to attack while humans were watching. Now the pirates were everywhere. "Are we going to help them?" asked Ensign Pete Davis. He was new to the ship and still thought like the old days. "No," Steve said firmly. "Our orders are clear. We observe only. The Council wanted to handle their own problems. Now they can." They watched on their screens as the pirate ships destroyed the Valorian transport. 300 alien civilians died while the humans sat and watched. It was hard, but it was necessary. The Council had to learn what it was like without human protection. Back on Earth, President Helen Carter was meeting with her advisors. Secretary of Defense Paul Henderson had just returned from a secret meeting with Council representatives. "They offered us junior membership," Paul reported. "Full military support in exchange for limited voting rights on minor issues." Carter almost laughed. "Limited voting rights on minor issues? After 30 years of our people dying for them?" "They don't understand," said Secretary of State Linda Martinez. "They still think they can give us scraps and we'll be grateful." Carter looked at the reports from across human space. Without the burden of fighting Council wars, human colonies were growing faster than ever. Human scientists were making new discoveries without alien oversight. Human exploration ships were finding new worlds every week. "How are our colonies doing?" Carter asked. "Better than ever," answered Paul. "Colony ships that were stuck fighting Council wars are now free to explore. We found 12 new habitable worlds in the last 3 months. Our population is expanding rapidly." This was what humans had always wanted, the freedom to grow and explore without being tied down by alien politics. The Council had kept humans busy with their problems instead of letting humans pursue their own goals. On Centauri Prime, Dr. Kexitar was trying to solve a medical crisis. A new disease was spreading among his people. The medicine that humans had developed was running out. Without human doctors to make more, his people would start dying soon. Dr. Kexitar had worked with human scientists for 15 years. He knew they were brilliant at finding solutions to impossible problems. But he had never bothered to learn how they did it. He had just expected them to always be there to fix things. Now, he understood his mistake. The humans were gone, and he didn't know how to save his own people. Similar problems were happening across Council space. Research projects that humans had started were stopping halfway finished. Space stations that humans had built were breaking down. Trade routes that humans had protected were becoming too dangerous to use. Senior Counselor Zethron called an emergency meeting of the full Council. Representatives from 47 different species gathered in the Great Chamber. Many of them looked scared. "The situation is critical," Zethron announced. His deep voice echoed in the chamber. "Without human military support, we have lost 14 systems to various enemies. Our economy is collapsing. Our technology is failing." "What do you propose we do?" asked Counselor Veltar. "We must bring the humans back," said Zarthok. His feathers were gray with stress. "We need them more than we realized." "But they refused our offer of junior membership," pointed out another counselor. "Then we offer them more," Zethron said. "Full membership, equal voting rights, whatever they want." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Many council members still believed humans were inferior. The idea of treating them as equals was hard to accept. But the military disasters were making them desperate. "Order!" Zethron shouted. "We can discuss our pride later. Right now, we need to survive." The vote was close, but it passed. The council would offer humans full membership with equal rights. It was everything humans had asked for over the years, but some of the council members wondered if it was too late. The humans had been gone for 3 months. In that time, they had started building their own independent civilization. Would they even want to come back? On his observation post, Captain Steve Rogers received a coded message from Earth Command. The Council was sending diplomats to offer humans full membership. Earth wanted to know how desperate the aliens had become. Steve looked at his screens showing the chaos in Council space: burning planets, destroyed fleets, failing technology, and economic collapse. The Council was more than desperate. They were facing complete destruction. He sent his report back to Earth with a simple conclusion. The Council finally wants to treat us as equals, but only because they're dying without us. The question now was whether humanity still wanted anything to do with the Council at all. The emergency council meeting had been going on for 6 hours. Councillor Prime Zethran looked around the great chamber at his fellow representatives. Many seats were empty now. 14 species had lost their homeworlds to the Krell Dominion and other enemies. Their representatives were dead or refugees. "We must face the truth," Zethran said in his deep voice. "Without the humans, we are dying." The chamber was quiet. 6 months ago, these same aliens had argued that humans were too primitive for full council membership. Now they were begging for human help to survive. "The Krell have taken half of our territory," reported General Vexara of the Valorian military. "Our remaining fleets cannot stop them. We need human tactical expertise and superior weapons technology." Councillor Veldtar stood up slowly. Her blue skin was very pale. "My medical facilities are failing without human doctors. 3 colonies are facing plague outbreaks. Human medicine was the only thing keeping my people healthy." Similar reports came from around the chamber. The Centaurians had lost most of their trade routes to pirates. The Rigelians could not maintain their space stations without human engineers. The Betons had no one to lead their military academies now that human instructors were gone. "I propose we send our most honored diplomatic team to Earth," said Zethran. "We will offer humanity everything they ever asked for. Full membership. Equal voting rights, territory grants, shared technology, whatever they want." "Who will lead this mission?" asked Veldtar. "Ambassador Supreme Kylara," Zethran replied. The chamber gasped. Kylara was the most respected diplomat in the galaxy. She was over 800 years old and represented the ancient Dominion, the oldest surviving species. If anyone could convince the humans to return, it would be her. 2 days later, Ambassador Supreme Kylara arrived at Earth's orbital stations. She had never visited human space before. Like most council members, she had always expected humans to come to her. The human orbital stations impressed her. They were larger and more advanced than she had expected. Construction crews were building new sections every day. Ships came and went constantly, carrying supplies to growing human colonies. Kylara was met by Linda Martinez, Earth's new Secretary of State. Linda had been a general before becoming a diplomat. She had fought in many of the wars that the Council had started. "Ambassador Supreme," Linda said politely. "Welcome to human space." They met in a conference room overlooking Earth. Kylara had studied human culture before coming, but seeing their homeworld still surprised her. It was beautiful and alive, covered with blue oceans and green continents. "Secretary Martinez," Kylara began, "I come with an offer from the Galactic Council. We wish to grant humanity full membership with complete voting rights." Linda nodded. "That's very generous. What else?" Kylara was surprised by the question. Full membership had been humanity's greatest goal for decades. She had expected them to accept immediately. "We also offer territorial grants," Kylara continued. 12 star systems for human colonization, plus shared access to all council technology and research. "Interesting," Linda said. "What would you want in return?" "Military support against the Krell Dominion," Kylara replied. "Medical assistance for plague outbreaks. Engineering support for our failing infrastructure. Basically, we need humans to return to their previous roles." Linda was quiet for a long moment. She looked out at Earth, then back at the alien ambassador. Ambassador Supreme, let me ask you something. Why are you offering this now? Kylara felt uncomfortable. The Council has always valued human contributions. But you never offered equal membership before, Linda pointed out. For 30 years humans asked for voting rights. The answer was always no. What changed? Kylara could not lie. The truth was obvious. The military situation has become difficult without human assistance. Difficult? Linda raised an eyebrow. From our reports, the Council is facing complete collapse. Half your territory is gone. Your technology is failing. Your colonies are dying of diseases. That's not difficult. That's catastrophic. The alien ambassador realized that humans knew exactly how desperate the Council had become. Their intelligence network was better than she had thought. We are willing to make humans equal partners, Kylara said. Partners? Linda asked. Or, are you looking for the same thing as before, just with better titles? Kylara did not understand. What do you mean? You want human soldiers to fight your wars. You want human doctors to cure your diseases. You want human engineers to fix your machines. You want human scientists to solve your problems. That's not partnership. That's employment. The truth of... Those words hit Kylara hard. The Council offer was just a better version of the old arrangement. Humans would still do the dangerous work while aliens made the important decisions. We are prepared to share power, Kylara said weakly. Linda smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Ambassador Supreme, let me tell you what humanity has been doing for the past 6 months. Linda activated a holographic display. It showed human space with dozens of new colonies, exploration routes, and research stations. We've established colonies on 18 new worlds. Our exploration ships have mapped 47 new star systems. Our scientists have made breakthrough discoveries in faster-than-light travel, energy production, and medical research. Our population has grown by 12 million people. Kylara stared at the display. Human civilization was expanding rapidly, in all directions. You see, Ambassador Supreme, we discovered something important when we left Council space. We're much more capable when we're not constantly fighting your wars and solving your problems. But surely you miss being part of the galactic community, Kylara said. What community? Linda asked. A community treats its members as equals. The Council treated us as servants. There's a big difference. Kylara tried one more approach. Think of all the good you could do, all the lives you could save. Linda's expression became serious. We thought about that for 30 years while our people died protecting aliens who wouldn't even give us voting rights. We're done sacrificing human lives for species that don't respect us. The meeting continued for 2 more hours, but the outcome never changed. Kylara offered everything the Council could give: territory, technology, resources, power. Linda listened politely to each offer. Finally, Linda gave her answer. Ambassador Supreme, the Council's offer represents everything humanity wanted 15 years ago, but relationships change. Trust, once broken, is very hard to repair. Kylara felt a cold fear in her heart. Are you refusing our offer? I'm saying that humanity has moved beyond needing the Council's approval. We've learned to stand on our own. We like it better this way. As Kylara prepared to leave Earth, she realized the terrible truth. The Council had waited too long. Humanity no longer needed them. Worse, humanity no longer wanted them. The most powerful species in the galaxy was walking away, and there was nothing the Council could do to stop them. 6 months after Ambassador Supreme Kylara returned to Council space with news of humanity's refusal, the Galactic Council was dying. More than half of their worlds were gone. The Krell Dominion controlled most of the galaxy's eastern arm. Pirates and raiders operated freely in areas that human patrols once protected. Councilor Prime Zethran stood alone in the Great Council chamber. Most of the seats were empty now. Many species had fled to distant parts of the galaxy. Others had been conquered or destroyed. Only 12 council members remained from the original 47. The massive display screen at the front of the chamber showed the latest disaster. The Krell had just destroyed the Valorian homeworld. 3 billion aliens were dead. The Valorian fleet had fought bravely, but without human tactical support they never had a chance. Zethron remembered when human Admiral Gary Collins used to stand in this same chamber, asking politely for his people to be treated as equals. The council had always found excuses to delay. Not yet, they said. Maybe next year. We need more time to consider this. Now they had all the time in the galaxy, and no one left to save them. A communication signal came through on the emergency channel. It was from a desperate group of council representatives hiding on a refugee station near the galactic rim. They had one last plan. "Counselor Prime," said the voice of Veltar. She sounded very tired. "We've prepared a final diplomatic mission to Earth. We're offering humanity leadership of the entire council. Full control over all remaining forces and resources." Zethron closed his eyes. "They will refuse. Just like they refused everything else." "We have to try," Veltar replied. "It's our only hope." 3 days later, the largest council delegation in history arrived at Earth's outer defense stations. 12 alien species had sent their highest representatives. They came in ships that were damaged and worn from constant fighting. Many bore scars from recent battles with the Krell. Admiral Rachel Clark commanded Earth's defense forces now. She watched the alien ships approach on her command screens. Her intelligence officer, Colonel Tony Mitchell, stood beside her with the latest reports from Council space. "The Krell have taken another 6 systems," Tony reported. "At this rate, the Council will be completely destroyed within 3 months. Rachel nodded. She felt no satisfaction in being right. Earth had predicted this would happen when the Council refused to treat humans fairly, but watching an entire civilization collapse was still hard to see. "Admiral," said her communications officer, "the Council delegation is requesting permission to meet with President Carter. They say it's extremely urgent." "Grant permission," Rachel replied. "Let's hear what they have to say." The meeting took place in Earth's largest orbital conference center. President Helen Carter sat at the head of a long table. With her were Admiral Gary Collins, General Chris Parker, and Secretary Linda Martinez. These were the people who had tried for decades to build a real partnership with the Council. The alien delegation looked terrible. Their clothes were torn and dirty. Their faces showed the strain of months of constant defeat. Some were injured from recent battles. These once proud representatives of mighty galactic civilizations now looked like refugees. Counselor Prime Zethron spoke first. His deep voice was weak and broken. "President Carter, we come to offer humanity complete leadership of the Galactic Council, full authority over all military forces, all resources, all territory. You would have absolute power to rebuild and restructure everything as you see fit." The room was quiet. This was an offer beyond anything humans had ever imagined. The aliens were literally giving humanity control of the galaxy. President Carter looked at each alien representative. She could see the desperation in their eyes. They were offering everything because they had nothing left to lose. "Why now?" Carter asked simply. Zethron struggled to find words. "Because we were wrong. About everything. We thought we were superior. We thought humans were just useful tools. We never understood that you were the ones holding our civilization together. We realize now that without humans we are nothing," added Veltar. Her blue skin was almost gray with exhaustion. "Our technology fails. Our military collapses. Our society crumbles. You were never our servants. You were our foundation." Carter stood up and walked to the large window overlooking Earth. She could see construction ships building new space elevators in orbital cities. Human civilization was growing stronger every day. "Counselor Prime," Carter said without turning around, 30 years ago, humanity would have been honored to serve alongside you as equals. 20 years ago, we would have been grateful for junior membership. 10 years ago, we would have accepted limited voting rights." She turned back to face the delegation. "But you taught us something very important during all those years of rejection." "What did we teach you?" Zethron asked quietly. "You taught us our own worth," Carter replied. "Every time you said no to our requests for equality, You forced us to become more independent. Every time you treated us as servants, you made us stronger. Every time you took our sacrifices for granted, you pushed us closer to realizing we didn't need you at all. The alien representatives looked confused. They had expected their desperate offer to save them. Carter continued. For 6 months, humanity has been free to pursue our own goals. We've expanded faster than ever before. We've made scientific breakthroughs that seemed impossible. We've built a civilization based on cooperation and mutual respect instead of hierarchy and exploitation. But surely you want to help other species, said Counselor Mortek desperately. You're the most compassionate race we know. We are helping other species, Carter replied. We're helping the ones who escaped from council space. We're helping refugees who ask for assistance instead of demanding it. We're helping civilizations that treat us as partners instead of servants. General Parker leaned forward. The difference is choice. When we help now, it's because we choose to, not because we're ordered to. Sethran made one final attempt. Please, President Carter, billions of innocent lives depend on your answer. Carter's expression was sad but firm. Counselor Prime, those billions of lives have depended on human sacrifice for 30 years. Their governments could have chosen to treat us as equals at any time. They chose not to. Now they must live with the consequences of that choice. She walked back to her seat. The relationship between humanity and the Council is over. It ended the day we realized we were worth more than you were willing to offer. The alien delegation sat in stunned silence. They had offered everything and been refused. What happens now? Veltar asked weakly. Now you learn to survive on your own, Carter said. Just like you forced us to do. The meeting ended quietly. The alien representatives returned to their damaged ships and flew back toward what remained of Council space. They carried with them the final answer to their final offer. 1 month later, Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Frontier, humanity's newest deep space exploration vessel. Through the main viewer, he could see an unexplored star system with 7 planets. 3 of them might support human life. Behind them, Council space continued to burn. The Krell Dominion and other hostile forces were fighting over the ruins of a once great civilization. The aliens were discovering what it was like to face their problems without human help. Commander, said his science officer, Dr. Lisa Brooks, we're detecting artificial signals from the 4th planet. It might be an intelligent species. Jake smiled. Prepare a diplomatic probe. Let's see if they're interested in meeting new friends. This was how humanity worked now. They explored new worlds and met new species as equals. They offered friendship and cooperation instead of demanding service and sacrifice. They built relationships based on mutual respect instead of hierarchy. The Council had taught humanity a valuable lesson about self-worth. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away from people who don't appreciate you. Sometimes the strongest response to being undervalued is to prove your value somewhere else. As the Frontier began its approach to the new world, Jake thought about the message he would send to Earth. Another new species to meet. Another potential partner to welcome into the growing human alliance. Another step forward into a future where humanity chose its own path. The Council had wanted humanity to serve them forever. Instead, they had taught humanity to serve themselves. It was the last gift the aliens would ever give, and they would never understand how precious it really was.